Welcome to Conversations with Doc Martin. This video series focuses on extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. Today is certainly no exception, and I'm so excited for this season 2 premiere because we are joined by none other than Kimberly Locke. You know, her career took off after being the last girl standing on season 2 of American Idol, and since she's continued to work in the entertainment industry in various capacities, while singing continues to be her anchor. She's also a motivational speaker and coach, and she loves to cook. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. You can catch her online cooking show, What's Cooking with Kimberly, on YouTube. And over the last several years, she's been whipping up some delicious recipes as the co-host with the legendary chef Emeril Lagasse on Everyday Emeril. This past year, though, she's been really busy because she released 2 music projects, a lullaby album entitled You're My Baby, and a new Christmas album titled Christmas Is Here. And her last Christmas album had 3 #1 songs on the charts, which led Billboard magazine to coin her as the Queen of Christmas. And the title single from the new album, Christmas Is Here, is a cover originally performed by the late, great Donna Summer. Last but certainly not least, in 2011, she created I Am Entertainment, which is a company created for artists by artists, where she consults with other established and aspiring artists to grow their brand and help them cultivate and tell their stories to a broader audience. It's an exciting time for her company as they are currently expanding, offering services to other business and nonprofits alike. So, Kimberly, welcome to you.
Hi, Martin. How are you?
I'm good. We're going to be releasing this before Christmas. We're actually filming the day before Thanksgiving. So we have lots to talk about relative to food. We'll get into that. And so I just want to sincerely thank you once again for taking time out of your day.
This is so great. Listen, it's so great to have met you in a very relaxed environment.
Yes.
And exactly. Now to see us in our professional environment.
Yes, exactly.
It's really fun seeing people, how multifaceted we all are. And obviously you and I have a lot of things in common that are just kind of coming out.
Yes.
So this should be an amazing conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was so excited. I mean, between the coaching and the cooking and the YouTube stuff, and oh my gosh, we have lots to unpack. So let's kind of wind the clock back a little bit. So I where we most recently met, we were actually in Mexico with Vakaya. So shout out to Vakaya.
Hey, Vakaya.
And so, you were so amazing on stage, and you were talking about, how this girl from Tennessee ended up, in that position, singing to this group of LGBT folk. So how did a girl from Tennessee end up on American Idol? Let's kind of start there.
Oh gosh. What's so funny? One of the things with where I am in my life right now, I love connecting the dots of life. I'm probably going to have a book called that one day, Connecting the Dots of Life. And every time I meet somebody, they're telling me their story, and I'm like, can we connect these dots right quick? Like, can we just, go back? It's a great way to really get to know people.
Yeah.
But it's also a great way to just understand that there are no accidents in this life. None. Okay. So, we'll go all the way back to when I auditioned for American Idol on October 30th of 2002.
Oof.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. Whew, that blew my hair back. So I had just graduated from college, and I had been an aspiring singer. And I'm the kind of person that if I can't do something the way I envision it to be done, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so I have been singing in Nashville. I cut my chops in Nashville. I learned everything that my foundation is 150% Nashville and Southern Baptist Church. So, I was going to college. I'd graduated from college, and I had decided that singing in the club, I did not want to do that anymore. Right.
Yeah.
Or not that I didn't want to do it anymore. That's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Sure. There are some people who thrive and they love it. I just knew that was not for me. So there's only 2 things I ever wanted to do in my entire life, Martin. And that is, I wanted to be a singer and I wanted to be a lawyer. And I have a newspaper clipping right over there in that photo album that my mom clipped from the 6th grade.
Okay.
Where I said it and somebody put it in black and white.
Oh, wow.
When I grow up, I want to be a singer and a lawyer, right?
Uh-huh.
So I stopped singing. I was singing in like 3 bands in college. You know, I had a full-time job, a part-time job, and I was working with these 3 bands. It was great. And I decided I didn't want to sing in the club anymore and that I was going to focus on my studies and I was going to get into law school. And so I completely changed my path, right? Not completely. I just hopped on the next path that, you know, I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm like, oh yeah, I said I want to be a lawyer. So here we go, right?
Yeah.
So I graduate from college. I get accepted into law school in Nashville and I'm working and I'm prepping. I bought my books. I paid for my first semester. Not really sure how that happened, but I did it.
Yeah.
And then American Idol came to town for auditions and my friends were calling me and making me watch the show. And I'm like, not interested. I've already flipped. I flipped that page, man. And once, you know, I am the kind of person that I believe in having a plan A, B, and C. So I had already decided I'm on to plan B. And I was focused on that. And I said, you know, I'm not going on another audition. Well, I woke up that morning on October 30th of 2002 and I laid in my bed and it was like I was in a movie. I was in my very own movie. I was laying in bed, literally staring at the ceiling. The only thing that was missing was a song. And I said to myself, you know, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose by going to this audition. And at least you can say you did it. You've been to every other audition. So I went.
That's awesome.
And here we are. I went.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And you know, there's a lot of steps and joys and heartbreak in the middle, but as the phrase goes, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
What do you think you took away most from that experience?
Ooh, that's a great question. And do you know, nobody's ever asked me that.
Really?
So thank you, Martin, for asking good questions. You know, what did I take away from that experience? I think what I took away the most is that there's so much out there in the world that I know nothing about that's fun and exciting and amazing and wonderful, and that every decision that we make matters.
I love that. Every decision we make matters. I love it.
Every decision we make matters. And I did a whole talk on this at a university. It's like that morning I could have decided not to get up.
It's true.
Not to get up. I got up and I put on dirty clothes, Martin, because I had not done my laundry. Right? Like, let's be honest. I didn't have clean clothes. I don't even know. I waited to the last minute, so I probably didn't even shower. Like, let's just be realistic about it. And that one decision to just go and have no expectation that I'm just going because I've been to every other audition. This is my last audition. Why not go?
I love that.
And so that's kind of when I got to American Idol, I felt so prepared, right? Because I had spent the previous 15 years of my life getting ready. Right?
Absolutely.
And what I learned after that show, after I was done with the show, what I really learned, you know, every decision matters, right? Don't think that any decision is less or more important than the other. They're all important. Right? They're all important.
Absolutely.
And when American Idol finished, I felt like, what else is out there that I don't have a clue about? Right? I was like, I'm not going back to Tennessee. Like, that's not happening. There's something else out here that I can't even see yet.
Absolutely.
And so I just stayed open. And that was really probably the overarching gift of it all, of staying open to all of the possibilities, you know, and you don't have to just pick one thing. And, you know, every every decision leads you to a place, and then you make another decision and another decision.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was truly an amazing experience.
That's awesome. I talk about my friend Ryan in some of my keynotes, who I work with at Spear Education, and it's this cool story about what his tattoos meant. And in my coaching program, there's this idea that, barring hurting another human being, there's no such thing as a mistake. Because if you went back to that time in history with the same knowledge, intuition, passion, and intention, you make the decision all over again. And
Exactly.
so I love what you said. It's like every decision is important. Every decision matters. And, we do the best we can with the skills we have at the time, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, if we want to take it to just a basic level of life, I remember when I was speaking to, this particular student body, I said to them, think about how many times, or think about the person that got in that car with their friend that they knew had too many drinks. That was a decision.
That's correct.
That was a choice.
Yep.
It mattered. They didn't know how much it mattered at that
Correct.
time.
Correct.
But it seems like a simple choice in that moment. And one of the things I've learned, and I continue to learn throughout my career, is work choices. Right? Putting that extra thing on my list when I really don't have the bandwidth to do it.
Yes.
And then there is a breakdown waiting because I pushed myself to the limit. And I go back and I'm like, all right, I didn't have to say yes to that. So, let's remember this moment so that I can make a better decision for myself, and all involved, and I think that when we start to look at our decisions in that way, we start to become very deliberate. And I believe in the power of, creating the world that you want to live in and that you want to have. And that's how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think, as you said, every decision matters. And when you think about your decisions, particularly kind of after American Idol, in that next phase before you launched I Am Entertainment, if you think back also, like, what do you think are some of the elements that were your least favorite about that experience?
Oh my gosh. I don't like the celebrity aspect of it.
Okay.
Nobody told me that was going to be part of this, Mark. Nobody told me that I would have no anonymity, like that from now on, from this day forward, wherever you go, there's going to be one person that knows your name.
Sure.
Perfect example. When we were in Mexico, we went to Xcaret, floating down the river. My hair's in a bun, all cocked to the side. I've got a life vest on that's up to my cheekbones, right? And this woman is like, "Oh my God, you're Kimberly Locke."
Oh,
and I was like, I looked at my fiance, because he talks to everybody. I'm like, "You talk to her?" And he's like, "I didn't do anything." But and I think, I say that, and I know that could totally be taken out of context, but I say that because, for that little girl that came from Gallatin, Tennessee, really, Nashville later, all she ever wanted to do was put on a beautiful dress and sing beautiful songs. The celebrity aspect of it was never factored into it for me until American Idol. And it was bad then because it was season 2. And the show was hugely popular. Ruben was just, you couldn't hide him. So when people saw him, they were like, "That's the American Idol gang," And it got so bad, like, we couldn't go to the mall together. We couldn't do the basic things. And so I think that's another thing that the show taught me, having that appreciation for the basic human things that we do that make us happy and bring us joy. Because I lost a lot of that during my 20s and 30s because of the popularity of the show.
It's really interesting. I didn't tell you my American Idol connection. And so my husband's first cousin was in the band that toured with Kelly and Clay when they did that first tour.
Oh, Kelly and
Clay Aiken.
no, Kelly and Kelly and Clay did a
Yeah,
tour. Oh, I
yeah,
thought it
way
was
back.
Justin.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, Kelly and Clay. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I
And
didn't know that.
and so this was in DC, and it's Michael's first cousin. And so we got backstage passes and the whole 9 yards, and just the level of energy, and it was like so frenetic. And Danny's actually a pretty well-known artist in Israel. He's from Israel. Hi, Danny. And he's incredible. And there were signs in Hebrew for him as well. And it was really, I mean, I certainly have no window into that. I was just as an observer, but
Right.
I can't even imagine how that ends up impacting your life, because I've got to give you credit, because we've actually met twice in our lives. We met back in 2009 on a cruise, and then just not even a month ago in Mexico. And you were just so open, and just there's a human element, a kindness about you. And I think that really shows, and it's
Thank you.
it's really, really nice. And I mean, granted, the places that we met were very much more kind of open and congenial. I mean, we're all there to have a good time and stuff, but still,
Yeah.
it can be very jarring when, as you put it, all you want to do is sing, and all of a sudden you got all this other stuff coming with it. So
yeah, and I think early on people used to ask me in interviews while we were on the show, like, what's important to you right now? And I would always say to them, what's really important to me is that I come through this process and remain grounded.
Yes.
And don't forget who I am, like the core essence of who I am. And that's kind of one of the things that I watched other people struggle with.
Absolutely.
The industry and that world just really grabs at you. It's not even like, and it's not gentle,
No.
You're being tugged and pulled in so many directions that it's easy to lose sight of who am I and who do I want to be. And I think that, now I'm probably overall as just a human being, the most comfortable I've ever been with myself and my career and my talent and my gifts. And it feels really, really good.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. As it makes my coach heart sing. So let's kind of go into that area. So American Idol finishes, Eighth World Wonder comes out, huge fan. Thank you for my shirt, by the way. And things are, you're doing what you love. And then I Am Entertainment launches in 2011. So help us connect your journey between American Idol, singles on the radio, songs on the radio, and then I Am Entertainment. Like, how did that come about?
Well, it's funny because I've always said this, my left brain and my right brain are almost equal. You have some people who are just one or the other.
Sure.
And I tried to just be one, and it does not work for me. It's like, it was like cutting off my thumb, right? You don't really know what you can't do until you hurt your thumb, and you're like, oh, I really kind of need my thumb,
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I was. And, I went to college. I love school. I love learning. And I think, even on American Idol, what happened, I became like the matriarch of our season.
Sure.
And I was the oldest. And they were, other contestants were coming to me asking me questions. And then I'm like, what do I have, counselor written on my head, or mom? Like, if people had a disagreement with somebody else, they came to me. I was like, what is this? Like, are you one of my children? But I embraced it. And, I thought, I don't know what it is and why people are coming to me, but just go with it,
Yeah.
And so I think that, I am naturally a teacher or a nurturer, or, I love to inspire.
Okay.
Right. That's kind of my new thing. It's like, whatever I do, am I inspiring people? Am I uplifting people? And am I supporting people? And that's kind of where the artist, the coach, and the cook come into play.
Totally.
All of those things, I'm inspiring and uplifting. I'm uplifting and inspiring myself, but I'm also giving that to other people.
Yeah.
And so I started I Am Entertainment in 2011. I became an independent artist. I got I did not renew my contract with my label,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like, you know what? Um, I need to do something different. And I remember I was in Nashville driving down the road and I saw my logo. So
Mm.
here I am driving. Don't do this if you are home. But I'm driving, like feeling around in the car, looking for a napkin, anything I could
Yeah,
find to draw this thing. And that was my logo.
that's
And
super
then I
cool.
said, I had this rush of energy as I'm driving and sketching out this logo. I'm like, what is this? And what are you going to do with this? I had no idea. I had
Mm-hmm.
no idea. So I said, all right, let's just take it down to basic baby steps. This is a place and a space for all of your creative projects, whatever they may be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also started What's Cooking with Kimberly in 2011 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, this is my umbrella. Well, Billboard magazine wrote an article about me and I Am Entertainment and my next EP, which was Four for the Floor, which was my first independent project.
Mm-hmm.
And then my phone started ringing. Other artists, can you manage me? Will you be my agent? I was like, no, 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 no. I was like, I don't want to do that. I
There's
was
that
like,
sign again, Kimberly.
yeah,
There's
right.
that sign again.
I was like, I don't want to do that. And so then I had to figure out, well, my lawyer, when he did some basic contracts for me so that I could have those, and
Sure.
he sent me the contracts and they had management at the top, and I called him and I said, Howard, I'm not a manager. He said, but all the things you described to me are management duties. I'm like, but I'm not a manager. He's like, but I don't understand. And
Yeah.
because that's what he does, like he just couldn't,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
couldn't hear or
Yeah.
understand what I was trying to do. And so, I see myself as a consultant, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
as an artist, I know that for me, nobody's going to work as hard as me on
Sure.
my projects.
Sure.
Like there's just not, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so what I wanted to do and what I am doing and what I have done is, you know, artists come to me. I want to educate them about their business because a lot of artists don't know about their business. They know they want to be an artist, but they know nothing about the
Yep.
business.
Yep.
And I think in today's world, whatever your art or your craft, whether you're a coach, you're a singer,
Yep.
you're a cook, it doesn't matter. The world has cracked open so much
Yep.
that you are your own CEO.
It's
You
true.
are, if you, I am my brand,
Yep. 100%.
So I think it's about building a team around you. And most importantly, before you build that team, you got to have a clear vision and a clear direction of who you are and what the stories are that you want to tell.
Love it.
And that's what I'm really good at. I
Love
love
it.
telling people's stories. I
Yeah.
love it
Yeah.
because everybody's got one. Everybody's got one. And
Amen.
it's like I feel like all of my career platforms right now are really about that. Whether I'm in
Yeah.
the kitchen with somebody
Yeah.
or I'm writing a song with somebody, I'm telling someone else's story,
Absolutely.
you know?
I can't wait to talk about cooking, but we'll get to that in a minute. I love I absolutely love what you just said. The whole idea about everybody having a story and getting stuck, not being able to find your vision, or
Mhm.
as some people might call it, your purpose, and then judging, well, I haven't gotten this far, and
Uh,
we're not even going to talk about social
that
media.
judgment, man, is
Oh,
harsh.
and
Woo.
social media certainly hasn't made it any better. That's for damn
No,
sure.
it hasn't. Yeah.
And so, when you think about the people that you've worked with, you talked about the fact that artists aren't business people. By the way, now they're dentists. And 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 and
I know there's a story there. I'll
oh
get it
man.
later.
And a lot of times they get stuck in kind of like where they would want to go. What do you think are some of the areas that get people most stuck moving forward? What have you observed?
The most important work that we will ever do in our entire life, and it's priceless and it's worth whatever money you
Mhm.
have to spend, that is your own personal growth and your own personal work. The
Mhm.
only person that we have to understand and get to know
Yeah.
is right here.
Love
right
it.
here, this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And I was very, very fortunate. Listen, I come from a background of trauma.
Hmm.
I'm no different than anybody else. I
Sure.
come from a background of trauma. I come from a background, unfortunately, of violence
Hmm.
and spousal abuse,
Hmm.
verbal abuse. I have a trauma foundation.
Okay.
Okay. There is a platform of from the ages of, I'm going to say from the time I was in my mom's womb
Hmm.
until probably in my 20s, where I was still playing it out in my
Hmm.
life,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that is that shaped me, good, bad, or indifferent. It
Sure.
shaped who I was.
Yep.
And so I would just say, like, to anybody out there, if you want to know why you're stuck, look around.
Mm.
Look around yourself. Who are you surrounding yourself with? What are you surrounding yourself with? Go inside. What are the thoughts that you're thinking on a regular
Yep.
basis? The things that you are
Absolutely.
thinking on a subconscious level. What was your programming as a child? Let's not
Yep.
discount that. let's
Yep.
let's not discount that.
Yep.
Let's not discount that. We all have programming,
Yep.
but there ain't a damn thing any of us can do about it. Except as we get older and we become self-aware, is to understand our programming. Because
Amen.
when we understand our own program, it changed my life. So I'm talking about it because it really truly saved my life. I was very blessed to have found a great therapist in my late 20s, in my
Hmm.
mid 20s, never been
Hmm.
to a therapist. This woman helped me change my entire life. The
That's awesome.
trajectory of my life has changed, because of her. And that's what I would say to anybody. Like, if you feel stuck, you don't need to look anywhere else but with
Amen.
you. And it is the hardest work that any of us will ever do, but it is hands down the most important work that you
Totally.
will ever do. Because when you take care of this,
Hmm.
everybody benefits.
It's true. It's
Everybody, the
true.
world benefits from you taking care of this.
Yep.
So it's not selfish. It's necessary, right?
Amen. Yeah, totally.
Necessary.
Totally. Totally.
I said during this pandemic, I said, well, if the government wants to mandate something, can
Yeah.
they mandate therapy for every human being in this world? Like,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
let's be real,
Yeah, it's true.
you
Well,
know?
supposedly the statistics are really scary that pre-pandemic, the incidence of mental health diagnoses was about 1 in 5 in the US. Post-pandemic, it's 1 in 3. And
Mm,
like, I mean, think about the numbers. There's a lot of people in this country.
right.
Scary is the wrong word. That's very telling
It's very
about,
eye-opening.
yeah. And, ironically enough, one of my other guests that's coming out after you, she wrote a book on trauma, Resilience to Rise. And so
Mm,
I should definitely introduce you.
yeah.
And she's also a therapist. We actually got talking on this whole tangent about, whether you agree with or don't agree with wearing a mask, there's science behind it. And so we were talking about how that's the resistance to wear masks is actually a mental health crisis, not a mask
Oh,
crisis. And so,
100%.
yeah,
This resistance thing
yeah,
is like a disease in and
yep,
of itself,
amen.
right?
Yep,
And I think that, that is to be looked at,
yeah, absolutely,
and not to be ignored, because
absolutely.
why are people in mass quantities resisting
Yeah,
so much? There's
yeah,
so much resistance. And it's never about the thing.
nope,
It's always about
nope,
something else.
nope, nope. As my friends Jen and Karen say, it's the thing behind the thing.
It's the thing behind the thing.
And
It
it's
is
like,
the
what's the
thing.
thing behind the thing? It's like, well, I don't want
That's
anybody
it.
telling me what to do. Well, but you do realize if you go to the Walmart, you could kill somebody's grandma because you're not wearing
Right.
a mask. And the science is very clear. Well, I don't believe that. Well,
And I believe that people are just blinded by that resistance
yeah,
right now. And I
agreed.
believe that, for not to diminish, but, I'm not going to diminish the resistance,
No,
right? Because that resistance is is deeply steeped and entrenched in something else that needs to be examined.
Correct.
And I think that I believe in the human spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe that people want to help their fellow man, and they want to do the right thing, and they want to be good. But I think this resistance is coming up out of something that's bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, we were talking about kind of like feeding people's souls and let's talk about feeding their stomachs. So, so I was so, excited to have this conversation because you and I also share a love of cooking. And so, let's talk about that. Like, how did your channel start? How did you end up with Emeril? Like, this is fun stuff. Let's talk about.
Okay, here we go. Let's connect the dots, right?
Yeah,
let's
there we go.
The dots. Okay, so after American Idol, Clay Aiken and I were roommates and lived in Studio City on Chandler Boulevard. It was beautiful. And I struck a deal with Celebrity Fit Club. And they were like, do you want to go on TV and lose weight? And I was like, you talking to me? I was like, I ain't gonna lose no weight, like, right? So at that time, my mom had just been diagnosed with diabetes and cancer. And so, I looked around and I took stock of my family history. So I knew, like, if I didn't do something different, that those things could be on deck for me as well. So I decided to do Celebrity Fit Club. It was on VH1, and I started to lose weight, right? Well, prior to that, I forgot a dot. Let's go back and pick this dot up. I was a model for Lane Bryant. And thank God, because what they gave me, and I still talk about them to this day, one of the best jobs I ever had.
Oh, fun.
They loved me. They embraced me, all of me. Awesome. They weren't trying to rearrange me and change me, because after Idol, I was the plus side. I was the fat girl, man. Like, and I'm like, but I'm not fat.
No. No.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So what Lane Bryant did for me, we did a tour of their flagship stores across the country, and these women changed my life. We would show up at these stores, and there would be women lined up all the way down the mall waiting to meet me.
Wow.
And this one woman, and I wish I could remember who she was, and if I had her number and her name, I'd call her. She looked at me and she said, "Thank you so much for representing us."
Wow.
She's like, "We're so happy that we finally have somebody to represent us."
That's amazing.
And as she's talking to me, I'm looking at this line of women in all shapes, all sizes, all colors, all nationalities. And I'm like, what a responsibility.
That's
amazing. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I was chosen to do this. And Lane Bryant, they'll never know how that role impacted my life on a personal level. Total acceptance, man. They helped me accept me.
That's incredible.
And it was really powerful for me. So when I decided to go on VH1 Celebrity Fit Club, I was like, okay, like, I'm ready to do this. Like, I'm ready to be healthy. It wasn't about being vain, because I thought I looked good anyway.
Sure.
I mean, I'm saying,
Do we even have to go there? I mean, come on.
Right? So once I did that, I signed on to that show. I got a phone call from Jenny Craig, and the pendulum swung all the way hard left.
The other way,
the other way. And they wanted me to be their spokesperson to lose weight. And I said yes. Probably something that I'll never do again, lose weight for money. It was stressful. It was traumatic in and of itself. But I did it. And again, I met some wonderful, awesome women at Jenny Craig, and another really good experience. But I was eating out of a box.
Sure.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't eat out of a box. I got to start cooking. I gotta find the time to cook. I got to figure out what I like. And I grew up in the South. So for me, it was almost like starting all over again, learning how to cook, because everything is outside. If you have a vegetable on your plate, At home in Tennessee, it is either fried or cooked in a piece of fat back, honey. Okay, let's just be real about it, and it is good.
I was gonna say it's tasty, but
it's good, right?
Yeah.
But I had to start all over from scratch, and I was
Mhm.
very fortunate to be living in California at that time.
Mhm.
So I had access, right?
Sure.
And this is another thing that I learned about access and to health and wellness across our country. Is
Mhm.
definitely an area that
Yep.
needs work and
True.
attention. But living in California, I had access. I had access to all the vegan restaurants, all the vegetarian restaurants.
Yep.
I had access to a variety of different grocery stores and
Yep.
markets, and I was eating vegetables that I'd never heard of, or
Mhm.
never
Mhm.
seen. And that's just really kind of how it all started with
Sure.
the cooking.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
A number of years ago, I came upon the term food desert, where particularly in the inner cities where there isn't
Yep.
access to fresh food or healthy
Right.
foods or even a grocery store. And so that desert.
There's a conversation,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah,
Sorry.
that's kind of a big thing. I don't think I ever even told you this. We met several times where I'm basically wearing a bathing suit. When I was 18, I wore a size 42. And at 50 something, it's 30. And so it's
Wow.
not easy to not only lose weight, but to maintain that healthy lifestyle. And
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel, but for me, that I hate the word diet because
Can't
that's a
be.
recipe for disaster, because
Right.
that's a diet is a temporary thing, right? I'd love to flip the narrative. It's like, no, when we go on vacation, we go on a diet of that. But when we
That's
get
it,
home, we have a
right?
lifestyle. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's awesome. So
I'm
yeah,
down with that narrative.
yeah, it's pretty wild. So
Yeah.
how has the experience been with Emeril and kind of cooking with somebody who's at that level of in the culinary world?
Can I tell you, how blessed am I?
Yeah,
I look back over, all the things that I've done, and it just keeps getting better and
yeah,
better,
yeah,
better, better.
yeah.
And the company that we are working with, they paired me up with him.
Oh, okay.
I knew nothing about this. They paired me up with him. There was no conversation about it. They were like, Kimberly's going to do this and she's going to be great at it. And being on set with him is like a master class.
That's awesome.
Every time. I just did something with him a couple weeks ago, and he is a pro. So anything that we're cooking, anything that we're doing, I don't care if it's a run through, he cares about the integrity of the food.
Yep.
And it matters to him, and he's passionate about it. And I love that. It's so nice to be around somebody who has that level of passion for something.
Totally.
Because it's inspiring.
Absolutely.
So inspiring.
Absolutely.
And you can just watch him and his brain, and like when he starts cooking, it's almost like he's got tunnel vision and nothing else around. Like it's kind of like, wait 5 minutes and we're gonna have the most awesome meal of our entire lives, right?
But we gotta focus.
Exactly, right? And it's really fun, and just I love it. Yeah.
So other than recipes and methodologies and techniques, what's meant the most to you out of that experience with Emeril?
That he chooses me every time.
Cool.
Because he could choose anybody to come in and do that co-hosting role with him. I'm the co-host. I'm not the star.
Right.
But the fact that he chooses me, look at that kitty cat.
I love that. That's awesome. I love that.
That he chooses me, and that he enjoys his experience with me, and that he trusts me in that role.
That's awesome.
That's
incredible.
And it's really great. I think we've done 7 things together so far. And honestly, like I said, they could bring somebody else in, but they don't. They bring me in every time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're about to go into the holiday season, and I'm so excited for everything. I'm going to be actually baking cookies for most of the day.
Okay.
And, super excited. But kind of as we go in, now that 2021, can't believe that, is about to be behind us, and we go into a new year. You know, I got to tell you, seeing you again in Mexico and meeting Jason, and first of all, he's amazing. He's hysterical.
I know, he's so amazing.
It's incredible. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
But well, how'd you two meet? I don't think I actually asked you that question.
Oh, honey, I'm so glad you asked, because I love to tell this story. Oh my gosh, I love telling the story. All right, we're connecting the dots again.
We are.
No accidents, okay?
Nope.
I had gotten out of a relationship and my best girlfriend said, I want to go on a trip. I'm like, where are we going? I'm ready. My bag is packed. Let's go. And I said to her, I said, do you want to go now or do you want to go for your birthday? Because we've been talking about her birthday. So she decided she wanted to go to Mexico. We actually were in Cancun, full circle.
That's funny.
And she and I spent 5 days, just the two of us. I mean, literally, it was breakfast, pool, lunch, pool, bed. You know, like we just totally vegged out. It was great. On my way home back to Connecticut, I connected through Miami, and I met a guy in the airport who was so persistent and so it would not take no for an answer. I told him, I said, I'm not interested. I just got out of a relationship. He was like, well, you know, can I have your number? I was like, no, like, I'm really not interested. I was like, I am not giving you my phone number.
Yeah.
So this went on for like at least an hour because the flight got delayed. So we got on the plane, sat on the tarmac for like 2 hours.
Ouch.
We got off the plane, and this guy runs up to me. And he's like, look, I saw you before we got on the plane. Somebody wants this to happen. And I was like, no, it ain't me. So long story short, we get on the plane and he asked me, he said, I'm going to ask you one more time. Can I have your number? I said, I'm going to give you my number because you are so persistent. So you know how they tear the ticket and the flight attendant takes one and then give you back? I wrote my phone number on the piece that she was going to take. So I said, good luck, because she's going to take that piece of that ticket. And he looked at me. So when I went ahead and got on the plane. And when she took his ticket, he was like, I need that piece back. And she's like, no, we keep this piece. He stood there arguing with her for like 5 minutes. She finally gave it back to him. Right?
Oh my God.
So long story short, this guy lives down the street from where I lived. So we went on a first date and he showed up 15 minutes late. And guess who was at the bar? And I started talking to them. Jason.
There you go.
And Jason is a custom remodeler and he makes furniture. And we were talking about real estate and investment properties, and he's grown up in this area his entire life. So he gave me his card and I said, look, I said, I'd love to talk to you about the geography and the lay of land here because I know nothing. And he said, when you're ready, just give me a call. Well, I texted him that night. I had my first date. First date was great with this other guy. And I texted Jason and I said, thank you so much. It was nice to chat with you. I'll be in touch with you, you know, in a few months or something like that. Well, fast forward 2 months down the road, Jason texts me and says, I'm in your area. Would you like to meet for a drink? And I said, no, I'm not available. Maybe next week. And that following week we met for a drink and we've been together ever since.
That's amazing. I love that.
So the guy I was trying to diss in the airport was ultimately trying to escort me and deliver me to my true love.
That's incredible. I freaking love that. Connect the dots, right?
I connected those dots, man. I love it.
I think you need to make t-shirts out of connect the dots with your name on it. I'm just
let's connect the dots.
Let's connect the dots. So I think that's awesome. So listen, I've so enjoyed our time together as we kind of wrap up. As we go into 2022, I'm going to ask you just a couple additional questions. So what are you, Kimberly Locke, looking most forward to in 2022?
Oh, you know what? More happiness.
Love it.
More happiness. That's really it. You know, a few years ago, maybe a couple years ago, I'm a list maker. We're type A people,
Mhm,
right? That's what
mhm.
we do. We make
Yep,
lists, we set
yep,
goals.
yep.
And I literally sat down and I was like, oh my gosh, I have nothing that I want to put on my list.
Mm.
And I was like, well, what does that feel like? And I was like, it feels fucking great.
I love it. I love it.
So from that point forward, I was like, okay, then let's just focus on more happiness.
Sure.
And that's all I'm focused on.
I love it.
In 2022, I've already started booking shows for a
Mhm,
show that I poured a lot of love into.
mhm,
It's a one woman show called The Sum of All Parts. It's a
mhm.
12-piece orchestra.
Yep.
And, I'm just looking forward to doing more of the things that bring me joy with the people who bring me joy.
Love it.
And that's really it. And like, nobody saw the pandemic coming,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
during the pandemic, I had so much happiness and so much joy, and it's like, that just doesn't feel right. But I totally went with it. And I was
Yeah,
like, this is awesome. And
yeah.
so 2022, no pandemic. I'm looking forward to no pandemic and more joy
That's
and
awesome. I
happiness.
love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Love it. And so, for all of our viewers here that catch this interview, whether today, tomorrow, next year, what would you like to leave them with from the aspect of your own life experience about how they can navigate their own lives? What words of wisdom would you like to say to somebody who may be struggling right now?
That you are stronger than you give yourself credit for.
Mhm,
If you really, whatever's going on in your life right now that has you stressed or
mhm,
pensive or on edge or stuck,
mhm.
just take a moment to take stock of your life and look at all the things that you have navigated
Amen.
already. The things
Amen.
that you thought 5 years ago or 10 years ago would take you down, you're still here.
Yep.
So, some way, somehow, you persevered.
Yep.
But you persevered because that's what we do, man.
Yep.
When
Absolutely.
we are more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And if we could tap into that power on a daily basis, it would be phenomenal. This world would be a completely different place.
Amen. I
And
love that.
I would just say to people, practice non-judgment with yourself every
Yep.
day.
Yep.
Because if you can't give it to yourself, you damn sure can't give it to somebody else.
That's true. Amen.
You
I
know?
love it. Very, very wise words. So I
Yeah.
want to sincerely thank you for your time. We're gonna put your information in the section below, so it'll have all your links
Awesome.
to it. And so don't forget to also subscribe to her cooking channel. I have it.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
get that Christmas album that's coming
Yes,
out.
get that Christmas album. I'm no joke. I'm not making this up. I am going to be, putting you on the
Oh,
stereo as I
good.
cook this afternoon. So, or make
Awesome. I'm cooking this afternoon too. I'm making sausage balls and apricot sausage stuffing. Those are my
love
two
it,
things.
love it.
Oh, and I got to make a pie. Oh, I
Oh.
don't know how that's going to go because I don't bake. I don't know about that one. We'll see.
Hey, no judgment. Just do it, and
Just do it, right?
the way it's intended, right? So, hey, listen, everybody, it's been fun chatting with Kimberly. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click notifications so you don't miss any of our season 2 interviews. And as I always love to share with everybody, remember, life speaks to you, and if you think it doesn't, you're not listening. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Kimberly. Bye-bye.
Bye.